Hello and welcome along to another episode of this FM19 story, part of the furniture with me, Daniel. It's season 8, episode 6, and as you can see today, we're playing the final game of the championship season against a Colchester side that are fighting against relegation, and if we beat them today, they could well end up in League One next year. However, today's more important than that for us. We can't get promoted or relegated, but we've got a chance to see some of the players that will be shaping the future of our club who have come through the youth intakes and been signed as young players over the last couple of years. Remarkably, despite still being in 13th, just as we were before the last game last season, we're actually only 5 points off the playoffs, and remarkably, we're only actually 12 points off second place, which is absolutely astonishing. The league's been so tight, and up until 2 games ago, there was 6 points separating 11 sides, and it's just fallen away a little bit towards the end for us. We've had a couple of little injuries as we've gone along, some others are back today, Adam Lewis is out injured, but it doesn't really matter on this final day, as with nothing to play for, we're going to play some of the kids. But before that, let's go and look at the results since the last episode. You're with me for that Brighton defeat at the end of February, followed by the youth intake, which we've got some interesting updates from. But since then, we won just 1 game in March, and that was our first game. A 4-3 win at home to Brentford. And just have a look at the timings up there. It is absolutely astonishing. We were 3-0 down with 65 minutes played. We got 1 back with 6 minutes to go. John Gerrard ending a 19-game goal drought, which we mentioned after the Brighton match. Then in the 89th minute, Richard Quirk got taken off injured. We'd already made 3 subs, we're down to 10 men. And then into stoppage time, Adam Lewis in the 92nd minute, halving the deficit to 3-2. And then 1 minute later in the 93rd minute, John Gerrard made it 3-3 with another goal. And then in the 96th minute, he turned up with another brilliant finish and got his hat-trick to make it 4-3. I have no idea how that's happened. I've never seen anything like it before, not since LMA Manager 03. I think I had a game like that with Rangers, but I have never seen it on Football Manager. And John Gerrard, after a 19-game goal drought, the youngster from last year's youth intake, suddenly turned up with a hat-trick in the Championship. You couldn't write it, and at the time it left us with a sniff of the playoffs, but unfortunately, as you've seen, that's fallen away a bit since. We drew 1-1 at home to Hull in the game after that. Adam Lewis again getting the goal. That's earned him a new contract. He's now the highest paid player at the club, but we'll go and look at all the contracts we've offered in a minute. We lost 5-3 away at Middlesbrough. Broja, Duncan and Lewis, the 3 familiar goal scorers, but they were just too good for us and absolutely dominated. We drew 1-1 away to Sheffield United. Callum Wilson getting the goal for them from the penalty spot before Bobby Duncan turned up with yet another. And then a 4-0 win at home to Ipswich, where Duncan got a hat-trick and Rowan McDonald scored 1 as well. He opened the scoring, all 4 of those coming in the second half. We nicked a late draw against relegated Huddersfield now. Steve Mooney with a penalty, and then John McGeever off the bench to nick a point right at the death. He's been really good in recent weeks and deserves the start he's going to get today. And then away to Cardiff, guess who? John McGeever in the 90th minute. The super sub strikes again. Cardiff took an early lead. Broja equalised. Unfortunately, Lewis picked up a knock, but then McGeever turned up to be the hero. Away to Nottingham Forest, we lost 2-1. Lewis had recovered for that one, but we probably shouldn't have brought him back that quickly. Bobby Duncan scored the goal again, but either side of that, it was a Ryan Heald brace, and unfortunately we went down in that one. That pretty much threw away our playoff chances, and then at home to Swansea we compounded the misery. We got back to 2-2 in the 61st minute, but unfortunately we then gave the game away late on. We looked threatening from set pieces, but really poor at the back. So we go into the Colchester game. We're going to be deciding their season, but we have to focus on ourselves and we want to play some of the youngsters. So we're going to go and look at the lineup and we're going to review some of the things that have happened in our youth intake and some of the changes to potential ratings since. I'll also show you some of the contracts that we've offered. We've got Jordan Stevens, who's out of contract in the summer. He won't sign a deal for less than £6,500 a week, and he's not that good, to be brutally honest. So far, we've offered extensions to all 3 of these guys at the top. McDonald, Williams and Byrne all rejected new deals so far. We'll go back in for them soon. But you can see pretty much everyone else has been offered a deal and they're now on big long-term contracts, which will make sure that even if we have to sell them, we'll get big money for them too. We've got one youngster coming in on a transfer at the start of the window, but we'll mention him in the summer transfer special. It's a signing from our parent club Liverpool, but it's a youngster who's out of contract, who they haven't offered a professional deal to. So let's look at the lineup for today. We've got some interesting names in there and some interesting changes to potential for some of the youth intake. We're slight favourites because we're higher up the league, but Colchester have won their last two, and on the flip side, we've actually lost our last two. We've got the better head-to-head record overall, but I don't think that's going to make much of a difference today. A very youthful side, and I've put it on the star rating so you can see why we've picked this side. Emmanuel Fibarasima, a player who came in our youth intake this year, had an average potential of 3 or 4 star. He's now 5-star potential. His attributes are flying up. He looks absolutely sensational, and at 15 he's going to get his debut from the start today. We've brought in the likes of Richard Quirk, John Gerrard and McGeever as well, and we've got a couple of others on the bench. Matt Hill, who we mentioned in the youth intake, now 1.5 star ability, 4.5 potential, and it's starting to look like this youth intake is better than we first thought. Unfortunately, the two that were highlighted at the start, the young winger who in the media headline was the star player and the standout from that intake, he unfortunately only has 2.5 star potential now, and the other centre half only 3.5, so these two look like the stars from this intake. We've got him on the bench and Lee Turner as well. He's a player who was in our youth intake the previous year, but because he was a right midfielder and he didn't have much current ability at the time, he didn't look like someone who was going to make it. He's really come on leaps and bounds. He's starting to look like an absolute superstar, and as a result we'll try and get him his debut off the bench today. We want to reward players not only who have potential, but those who are working hard and trying their best to become pros. It doesn't matter if they're going to make it at our level or not. It's just about whether they're giving their everything to make sure they can be professional footballers. If they do that, they'll get a chance off the bench, even if it's only one appearance, something they'll remember for their careers. We've got Wheeler on the bench as well, the player we signed for 1,500 from Telford. He's really developing nicely, and he'll be the other one off the bench today. He's actually overtaken Gerrard in terms of current ability, but his potential isn't quite as good. So they're the three we're hoping to bring off the bench, but obviously we've got some of the more experienced pros if we need to bring them on. We've got David Crawford, who is probably going to be his farewell today, and looking at the Championship, we've got Bobby Duncan, the second top scorer, but it doesn't look like he can catch Eric Murphy. So we're not going to worry about either of those. We're just going to get into the game and hope these young lads can do themselves proud. Let's see if we can get a result against Colchester. It would be a great achievement with these lads. We're going to give all three of those an auto squad number, and let's get into it and see what we can do. It's the common 4-2-3-1 for Colchester. We see it nearly every time in the Championship. Obviously our formation's the unusual one at this level, so it's going to be interesting to see if we can get a result with it. Let's go and tell the lads it's time to put an end to their poor run. We'll also go to the tactics and change some of the roles. So a pressing forward role for Gerrard, that's what he prefers anyway. Fibarasima, I'm not sure what his best is. We'll leave him as that central midfielder. McDonald switched into the deep line playmaker role just because he's a better passer of the ball than the youngster. We've got Eamon McCabe and Richard Quirk on the wings. We could drop them back if we wanted. They prefer this sort of role anyway. I'm not sure if it'll be better for the side. Let's have a look if they both match at that level. I think it might be better, so we are going to do that and just see how it works out. No other changes required then. It looks a little defensive, but let's get into the first half, see if we can get a result. We'll show you some key highlights and hopefully these youngsters will do themselves proud. It's Nydam, the hero from our FIFA 19 career. He finds Hines, but he puts it wide for Colchester, and thankfully we survive with 5 minutes gone. It's Colchester on top though. You'd probably expect them to dominate with the two sides we've got out, and they've got something to play for as well. They're fighting to stay in the Championship. Gray shoots into the corner, the former Luton man in real life, and he's put them ahead with 7 minutes gone. We're going to demand more, but I think this could be a long afternoon. We're giving the youngsters some invaluable experience. I just hope it doesn't become embarrassing. We're back with Colchester on the right hand side. It's Hines back to Richardson, the fullback. He finds Jake Gray, the goal scorer. Hines again to Richardson. Long ball to the back post. Lamecca's there. Too easy unmarked and it hits the post. Gerrard brings it away though, and can we counter now? McGeever getting forced out wide. He's challenged, but it goes to Richard Quirk. He tries to deliver, but the highlight ends before we see what happens. Half an hour gone. It's still 1-0 Colchester, and they're coming forward again. Richard Quirk heads the ball away. I think we might have to push the fullbacks on as they're getting caught caught a little bit deep, and unfortunately they're all over us. Lameka heads wide, and we're going to make that change now. We're just going to put them back to where they've been playing all season, even though these two lads don't suit it as well. Let's see if it makes a difference with the last 10 minutes of the first half. McGeever has a free kick from the edge, wasn't the right angle for a left footer. Unfortunately, he's put it wide. A lot of these lads are anxious, so we'll try and encourage them at half time. I told them to demand a bit more earlier on, and unfortunately that may have backfired. Lameka's been a danger man. He had a shot again. It may be the Lameka who came on loan to us a couple of years ago. Didn't even get a game. It's Gerrard in the right channel now though. McGeever's in the middle at the back post. Shoots and scores. The lads are doing us proud again. Gerrard and McGeever combining, and it's 1-1 with 5 minutes to the break. We've got Reece Williams on a yellow card. He needs to ease off the tackles now. Plays a lovely through ball to McGeever though. He shoots and scores again. We're ahead against Colchester. McGeever with a brace. Brilliant ball by Reece Williams. We've left the fairly experienced players at the back. The main reasons for that is we haven't got any backups who are youngsters who are talented. And more importantly, we need to make sure this isn't embarrassing. If we've got a solid base, as Lameka equalises with a brilliant header, I've got to check if this is the one who played for us. It's a fantastic end of season game. He didn't come to us at all. I don't know why I'm imagining that. Although, hang on, he was at Burton, so did he come on loan but just didn't play, so he wouldn't even be mentioned here? I'm so sure he was on loan for us at some stage. Let me know if I'm wrong. Is it another Lameka maybe? I'm thinking of a name that was very similar or the same. I just can't work out who it was. But let's get back into the game and see if we can hang on to half time. There we go then, we're level at the break. McGeever with a brace. He's starting to become Owen Jack, who fired Crystal Palace to promotion this season. They won the league at a canter, and Owen Jack's one of the top scorers in the leagues. But we've got to focus on our new generation, and these lads are doing us proud. A wonderful game of football for the fans who have come along. Colchester just need a point, so they'd probably be happy at the end of the season. If we look at the updated league table, Ipswich and Northampton are both drawing as well, and they've got the best goal difference of the three, so they should be alright. Let's see if we can get another goal in the second half and bring those three youngsters on if possible. They've got the ball on the left hand side with Earl. He's picked up a knock but he's still coming forward. Crosses to Semenyo, deflects back to him again, but it's been blocked and it's wide at the post, out for a corner kick to the home side. They're going to deliver an outswinger with Nydam again. On set piece duties for Colchester. Never did that for me in FIFA 19, but I trust Football Manager's ratings for set pieces more. Reece Williams heads the ball away. We managed to contain the pressure, but unfortunately they're still coming forward again. They're building another attack with Richardson, the right back. Baldock hoofs it clear and McGeever can't hold it up. McCabe nods it away for good, and finally the highlight ends. Nearly an hour gone, it's a throw on the right for Colchester. We're straight back with another one. We're getting loads of warnings to close Lameka down, and I'm not surprised with the way he's been playing. He gets there on the left hand side again for Colchester, delivers to the back post. Reece Williams heads away. Hines has a shot which is blocked. There's got to be a foul in there, ref, but it's not, on his back to Lameka, who shoots straight into the grateful arms of Bass. An hour gone, and in a couple of minutes we will make those changes. It's a throw on the right. The sun's come out. I hadn't noticed it before, so it must be different. It certainly looks a lot lighter out there. We're into May now, don't forget, so you'd certainly expect to see it. The youngster Fibrasima. We've not seen him much at all. We were going to call him Emmanuel, but someone kindly told me how to pronounce his name, so I hope they got it right, or I've just listened to the wrong advice. Hines has got it into the box. Brilliant last-ditch challenge by Williams, and deflects into the grateful arms of Bass. Not the first time we've said that today. 20 minutes to go. It's Basham to Shibola, the man who played so well for us last year. Now he's fighting relegation with Colchester. What is going on there? Alex Bass nearly letting an own goal, and we're going to make some changes and give some debuts to some youngsters. First it's going to be Cliff Wheeler. He's played for us before, but he'll come on in the number 10 role in place of the youngster Ricky Ash, who's come in for a rare appearance today but not done very well. Let's see what his preferred role is. He's happy as an advanced playmaker, so we'll leave him there unless his passing rating's really poor. It's not the best, to be honest, so we might go for an attacking midfielder instead. We want to bring on Lee Turner. I'm not sure how good he is defensively. He's not very good at all, to be honest. And the other one is Matthew Hill. They're all attacking players and we haven't got room for them. So we're going to bring on Lee Turner in central midfield, I think, for Fibrasima. In fact, we'll leave them for now. We just want to give them their debuts, so we'll do that in the last few minutes. We'll let the game play out first. We don't want it to cost us a result. So Cliff Wheeler's on. He's someone we know we can trust. 2.5-star ability now. Really working hard in training and has scored for us in the Cups before. I have no idea what happened with that shot there. Balazar hit the post. It deflected out and hit Bass on the leg, but then luckily went wide for a corner. 10 minutes left and it's a free kick on the edge. Lameka shoots, hits the wall. Shibola scores. It had to be him, didn't it? Colchester lead. Aaron Shibola, our hero from last year, has scored what should be the winner for the home side, and they're definitely going to be in this division next year. Let's make the other two subs now. It doesn't really matter. We'll bring Turner on in central midfield. I'm not sure what role he's best at in there. He likes to be a Mazzala, so we'll probably play him in that sort of role. Give him a chance to get forward and show what he can do, and we'll keep Rowan McDonald as a deep line playmaker, but switch him to the left of the two. We're going to bring Michael Hill on at right wing back as Richard Quirk's struggling for fitness. I'm just going to try swapping Turner and Hill in case they're better in the opposite role. I'm not quite sure it'll make a difference, so we're just going to play Hill at right wing back. He can't really tackle, but he's improving in training, and hopefully he'll just be grateful for the 5 minutes on the pitch. Let's get back into it and see if we can nick an equaliser. Just 30 seconds of stoppage time. It's an in-swinging corner from McCabe. Williams heads it down, but it's into the arms of the keeper. That was the chance, and unfortunately it's gone begging. Williams has had a good game, a good effort there, and he got an assist as well. Good to give two players their debuts and play some of the youngsters from the start in this one. John Gerrard, remarkably before today, hadn't actually started a league game. He'd just make about 20 sub-appearances, so that's a really good one for him. And as well as that, a few of the other youngsters coming in who haven't often got on the pitch. Turner's got the ball in the middle and the final whistle goes. We lose 3-2, but I'm really pleased with that performance. So many youngsters coming in, and John McGeever in particular looking like an absolute standout at this level. Let's talk to the lads. Jelling's spot on. We're going to appreciate their efforts, and most of them are delighted. They're probably just happy to be playing at this level. Thanks to other results, we finished in 13th place, exactly the same as last season, an 8-point gap to the playoffs, and more importantly, a 25-point gap to the relegation zone. We're really starting to look like an established championship side now, and there's just one more financially tight year before we move into the new stadium and can start to spend some money. We're going to keep these youngsters developing, hopefully another year of football, and they'll be first team pros, and it'll just be adding 2 or 3 in essential areas. Let's quickly look at what was said about the game. They're focusing rightly on Colchester avoiding relegation. The fact that we're not even in that mix towards the end of the season shows just how well we've done again. Sheffield United and Birmingham into the playoffs. Turner, Hill and Fibber-Asima all making their debuts for us. That's absolutely fantastic. Something I really enjoy about the One Club Challenges. The championship season ends, we already know that. McGeever will praise him now while we're here. There's no need to wait when it's right in front of us. He's delighted with that. If we go and have a look at him, he's still developing nicely. I really have such high hopes for him, and at 21 he's still got room to develop. 7 goals in 7 starts, and loads of sub-appearances where he's made an impact. 2 assists as well. He looks like an absolute superstar. Allegri's here, the Man United manager. He's having a look at Richard Quirk. Hopefully today we'll have put him off, as he didn't have his best game, but he's really developing well too, and he's going to be a superstar in no time. The last thing we've got to do is have a quick look at the team review for the end of the season, see who our superstars have been, and see those who we might be letting go during the summer. We will be back with a transfer special, of course, in a few days' time, but we've got to do at least a little bit of planning, especially with the areas where we're weakest. So if we go to the selection info and we can look at how they've performed this year, we'll take out any injured ones because I think Adam Lewis is in that category, and let's put them in appearance order first. Top of the list is Robson Brown, the new signing in the summer. I think we got him on a free, did we? 200,000 we paid for him. 45 league appearances. He did a really good solid job for us, and we're absolutely delighted with that signing. We'd just like a little bit more composure, which we'll work on during pre-season. Alex Bass was right behind with 46 appearances, missed 1 league game, which was the penultimate one due to a slight knock, but he was absolutely solid again, and we're delighted to have him here for another couple of years. Reece Williams was a superstar as well, 7.11 at centre half. The Welsh manager laughed when we said he deserved an international call-up, but they could certainly do a lot worse than him. We're going to offer him another new deal shortly, and hopefully we'll have some good news to report from that in pre-season. Adam Lewis, the new highest paid player at the club, he's been absolutely brilliant for us. 22 assists and 8 goals, contributing to 30 goals in 43 games. Absolutely sensational. He always seems to get an injury at the end of the season, but there's nothing reoccurring, so hopefully he'll be alright for next year. And then the two strikers up there, Broja and Duncan, joining Darren Mapley with 42 games played. So many positive performers this year. The likes of Quirk making 33 appearances, McGeever made 36, Gerrard made 22, and then obviously some of these youngsters who made their debut today. In terms of goals, they almost all came exactly where you thought they would. Duncan with 25, Broja with 23, making sure that we didn't miss Owen Jack too much this year. McGeever got 8, and as did Adam Lewis off the left wing. And then 5 from defence again for Reece Williams, who must have scored a few for us now. 19 league goals, scoring at about 1 in 8, which is sensational. Gerrard, Mapley and Baldock got a couple as well, as did Rowan McDonald. And then there's a few other lads on one, the only disappointment of which being David Crawford. On to assists, 22 for Adam Lewis as we mentioned, 14 from the other wing-back Nico Williams. He's really improved this year as well. Duncan and Broja got a few for each other, and Quirk got 4 from the right wing as a sub. David Crawford got 4, and again slightly disappointing from him, and Rowan McDonald matched that too. Williams with a few from set pieces, where he's knocking down headers into people's paths, and the two young strikers got a couple each as well. A really good season overall. And then 5 players with a rating above a 7, Lewis, Duncan, Broja, Nico Williams and Reece Williams, and then Alex Bash just behind them on 6.97. So a fantastic season, but still lots of work to do in the summer. We know we're going to have to let 1 or 2 go financially. I think it's going to be David Crawford if we can get interest. Due to the poor season, he's not got much in him now, but at 2.3 million, if we can get towards that 10 like we did for Owen Jack, we'll certainly be willing to let him go. How much did we sign him for? I can't remember. £28,500, so we're certainly going to make a profit, I can assure you of that. The ones we definitely won't let go are the likes of Gerrard and Quirk, who have come through the youth team. They're the ones that we want to keep in the team long term and have at the club when we're playing in a Champions League in 10 years' time. But some of the backup players certainly will be on their way. Anthony Ralston will have a go at selling again in the summer. We may lose Ian Brunt because he's unhappy and not playing too much, and we've got a new young goalkeeper coming in. Raggett's loan obviously will expire. We really need a centre-half if we're going to play 3 at the back, as James Baldock's agreed to join an MLS side, following suit just like Marco did in January. We're fairly strong in the wing-back or full-back areas. Obviously, if we end up going to a back 4 and a standard midfield, we then will need some backup options on those sides, although it could give a pathway for the likes of Lee Turner and Richard Quirk to play a few more games next year. Again, the sale of Crawford will probably mean we don't play with a number 10 next year, so it may be that we find someone who's a superstar who has to come in there, but alternatively, we could go back to a 4-4-2 or something along those lines. We could even play a wide diamond, as we don't have any really good central midfielders either. The only one we probably want to keep at the club is Rowan McDonald, and he can play in a holding role too. We'll definitely promote Emmanuel Fiboracima next season. He's going to be there as our backup central midfielder or holding midfielder, depending on which one we play. And likewise for Turner, if we play a midfielder, we'll certainly get him up too. If not, he'll go out on loan and make sure he becomes a good pro. Up front, we've got exactly what we need. We won't be making any changes there. It might just be loaning out one of the youngsters, possibly Cliff Wheeler, so we make sure he gets the football he deserves. So plenty of changes to come in the summer, most notably possibly a change in formation. It just depends on whether we can get a special number 10 and where the best wide players available prefer to play. Adam Lewis is obviously a natural on left midfield as well as left wing back, so we've got so many options there. Richard Quirk can play right back naturally. Nico Williams has been training at right midfield, so hopefully he'll be available there soon. But we've got so many options, and I've really got a summer of thinking to do. I'm glad I'm a little bit ahead of the recording schedule on this series, because I'm really going to need it for this window. It'll probably take me 2 or 3 days to make my decisions. But that will be all for this episode. If you did enjoy it, please put a thumbs up on the video. Let me know what you thought of our season. Which one of the youngsters do you think's going to be the best? Surely it's got to be Richard Quirk with the clubs chasing him. Let me know if you agree with me about our strengthening in the summer. It seems very clear to me that central midfield is the weakest area. Whether we're going to play with holding players, central midfielders or a number 10 doesn't matter. If David Crawford goes, we have no real talent in there. Rowan McDonald can do a job next year, but with Stevens going and Mapley's loan ending, we don't really have many other alternatives. McComb and York aren't good enough. Fiboracima can only be a backup, and I don't see what else we've got in there should we need a game changer. Subscribe to the channel for daily FM19 content from my 2 long-term stories, this one with Torquay United and our other series The Head Coach, where we work under a director of football with no say in transfers or contracts. But a massive thanks for watching and your continued support with the series, I really do appreciate it, and we'll see you next time for the start of season 9 and hopefully a transfer special.